The leaders of the world's two largest economies, President Xi Jinping of China and President Joe Biden of the United States, are meeting in San Francisco. This marks President Xi's first visit to the country in years and first in-person meeting with his U.S. counterpart following their summit in Bali almost exactly a year ago. Against the various ongoing crises the world is witnessing, anticipation is running high. How will this meeting impact the future of two-way ties? Would it be able to put relations back on track? I was joined online by Professor Zhao Sui-Sheng, Director of the Center for China-U.S. Cooperation at the Joseph Corbel School of International Studies at the University of Denver. Professor Zhao, welcome to The Point, and thank you very much for joining us. What are your expectations of this much-anticipated meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and U.S. President Joe Biden in the coming days in San Francisco?
This is a very important summit. The leaders have not been met since last November in person, and the relationship has been in a very bad shape. In fact, although the cabinet members from the Biden administration has visited China, and some other delegations have visited China, and the Chinese leaders, Wang Yi, Foreign Minister, and Vice Premier He Lifeng have visited the U.S. But in my mind, so far, those communications have not produced a substantive accommodation in the relationship. At most, it has reduced tensions and prevented the willingness of both sides to prevent the worst-case scenario, that is, misperception and misjudgment would lead to escalation of conflicts. But I have not seen any specific progresses in the relationship. What I call this at this moment is both sides are talking the talk, walking the walk. We have continued to challenge the other side of red lines because some really roadblocks.
So the United States and China have each their own aspirations. What do you think are the aspirations of the United States?
Yeah, for Joe Biden, he is very clear that he does not want to be the president and that come into a war with China. So from very beginning, he has made that very clear. He wants to keep the line of communication open and to responsibly manage the competition between China and the U.S. For quite a few years, since the last years of the Obama administration and the Trump administration, the high-level communications somehow suspended. Those security and strategic dialogue and economic dialogue suspended. And there were a lot of misperceptions and also a lot of misjudgments. So Joe Biden has made a great effort, I think, try to resume this communication and try to stabilize the relationship.
What are the expectations from China?
There is a misperception in China that he needs China for his election campaign. I don't think that is the case. He wants to stabilize the relationship and prevent this relationship, the free fall in those years. In the U.S. domestic environment, he has faced a lot of resistance from the Republican Party and also from his own party.
Do you think the Biden administration is sincere in stabilizing this relationship?
The U.S. side needs China to work with them in order for Joe Biden's election next year. I don't think that's the case. He has been very clear that the competition is inevitable. Because of the competition, we have to be responsible to manage that, prevent that competition from slipping into a wall, a cold wall and a hot wall. So he is facing very strong resistance in domestic politics. So I don't think that's the case. So China side works with the U.S. Should understand that point. It's not U.S. needs China. Both sides needs each other. That's the situation at this time. That's why I think it's very important for these countries.
Why do you think it is important for the Chinese side to accept this invitation and come to talk to the U.S. president?
There are many people said that China's economy is in problem. That's not Americans thinking. I think that's also a misperception. China's economy is indeed in problem. But in the meantime, China has its own strengths. And from China's perspective, I see there is a requirement for China's side also to prevent this relationship from slipping into a conflict. That's not in China's interest either. So, but China's side has been somehow reluctant for quite a while. I still remember when there were those kind of meetings, China's media, all Chinese government always said it's at request of America. So America is making all the mistakes. All the responsibilities are squarely on the American side. So Americans have to make concessions to talk. Now Americans have taken very proactive actions, try to resume those talks, communications. I think China got that, and it's in China's interest to do that. And China make very positive responses at this point. I think that's very good progress. But we cannot just talk for talk, communication for communication. We really have to focus and find ways to accommodate a compromise on the issues. At this time, I think the most important issues for me, for both sides, are two aspects. One is emphasize ideological conflicts, tries to impose its own values on the other side. The second is Chinese pan-securitization. I think it is indeed a securitization of all aspects of the relationship. We have to de-link security from many other issues. Mm-hmm.
So you talk about 2 points. One is everything has been given an ideological dimension, and the other is that every issue has been linked to national security. Isn't that what the United States has been doing, according to the Chinese understanding?
The same problems. China espionage law adopted this year almost put everything in the national security ground. And American business, especially those data.
So these are issues that are very difficult to compromise. And what kind of solutions do you think the two sides can work out?
I don't see a solution at this time on those issues. Both sides, at this time, I see there is a very positive signs. That is, they are willing to find solutions. That itself is a progress, but I have not seen any ways they have found to accommodate each other's demands or interests. And in that case, I think other than what I talked about, desynchronization and de-ideologicalization, the two sides may want to focus on those non-traditional security issues, such as climate change, pandemic prevention, and transnational crimes, including those drug trafficking, which Americans are very concerned. In fact, for Americans, I can understand those issues are more important than Taiwan issue for the domestic politics. China side have to pay attention and work with the United States on those issues. And on climate change, also is very important for U.S. China has linked the climate change with the overall relationship. And that is difficult for those both sides. And also nuclear proliferation and arms control, those new newly emergent areas, AI, artificial intelligence, how to prevent them from using in the military arena. So there are so many issues these two countries share concerns. If we can talk about those issues and also to establish a regular working level communication and also negotiation channels. At this time, they have not talked about negotiations. They talk mostly are consultation, just tell you what I think, what are our side of policy. They have not entered negotiations. Pandemic prevention on the drug issues, fentanyl, for example, is a very specific issue. U.S. side has been very concerned. So we really need to negotiate on those issues. Of course, those are big geopolitical competitions, like a Taiwan issue, like those hot spots in South China Sea.
Thank you so much, Professor Zhao, for accepting our interview. And with that, we come to the end of this special edition of The Point with me, Liu Xin, coming to you from California. As always, you can follow me on Facebook and Twitter using the handle Liu Xin in Beijing. On behalf of the whole team, thank you for watching. You've got The Point.